Okay, Lamar's going to throw the ball in over to Devin Williams. Devin Williams over to Michael Manette. Michael looks over to Devin. Devin fakes a little bit, shake and bake. Here we go. Oh! Devin Williams! Oh my goodness!
Welcome to the 25th episode of New Mexico is a Basketball State, hosted by me, Russell Gurule. And I got to tell you, it's great to be back. Thank you for tuning in again. We got a lot of great topics to talk about today. We're going to talk about the NMAA bylaw that's been recently passed. We're going to talk about William Benjamin's lawsuit that has now been dismissed with prejudice. We're also going to talk about friendly favors. You're probably wondering what that is. And we're going to talk about why I named this podcast New Mexico is a Basketball State. And the reason I do that is because I believe that this state loves basketball. I believe that this state is very passionate about basketball. You look at Aggie fans and Lobo fans, you can definitely see it all the time. You just know that they care more about basketball than any other sport in this state. You look at Kirtland Central, where fans line up around the building to watch a girls' basketball game and how they support that. Gallup, how they fill that gym up. Espanola Valley, how they fill that gym up. You look at all of those things. You look at all of the excitement around the state tournament every year, how they get 15,000 into the pit to watch the 5A, 4A state championship games. And they do it all the time, every year consistently. And so that's what makes this a special state for basketball. Some people, tend to come around and they try to tear that down, maybe because they don't feel so good about themselves or this or that. They'll say things like, well, how many pro players do you have? And this and that. And honestly, we have a lot. We have people like DeAndre Landstrom, who played at Sandia, Fort Lewis College. He's having a fabulous career overseas. We have Scott Bamforth. We have Michael and TJ Holyfield, Christian Cunningham, Eric Benedict, Roman Andrade played for a while, and he did a great job. Lamar Marinia is another one who's played in Germany. We have all these players that have been playing overseas and doing wonderful. Jeff Taylor, Alex Kirk, all from New Mexico. Roman Martinez, he played a while overseas. Jordan Jones, all these players, okay? And none of them were semi-pro because there's no such thing as semi-pro, okay? The NCAA considers you a pro the second you sign that contract, whether it's for 50 cents or $200 million. You're a pro, according to the NCAA. You also have the IRS, who considers you a professional. Doesn't matter if you have a second job or not. That does not matter. You're considered a professional once you sign a contract and once you start getting paid to play basketball. And we've had quite a few who have done that. Now, you may not have really heard about these guys because your local media doesn't really cover that stuff. They mainly focus on Lobo and Aggie stuff. And recently, the New Mexico United. But that's the thing. They're still professionals, and it's growing each and every year. We got more and more kids going to college. It's been, roughly 20 plus for the last 4 or 5 years. 20 plus kids going to college and playing ball somewhere, whether it was D1 or whether it was community college, whether it was D2 or things of that nature. So there's been a lot. And, let's be honest. Every other sport tends to struggle compared to basketball, okay? You can put up all kinds of events in basketball. You can do all those things in basketball, and you'll see it on Instagram and social media. You look at like football, well, they're still playing at the number 1 seed's home field. They still don't play in a college football stadium like basketball plays at the pit. And, that should tell you something right there. You go down to the South Campus, you look at where the priorities are. Look at the pit and look at University Stadium, and you'll know which sport matters the most. And that's why I call this a basketball state, okay? It may not be like Indiana, and I get that, but I never compared it to Indiana, so let's just chill with that stupidity. That's kind of a dumb comment, to be honest with you, to compare it to something else. This is a basketball state because people love basketball, bottom line. And that's why I call this a basketball state, and that's why I named this podcast a basketball. New Mexico is a basketball state. That's why I named it. So, with that, moving on to, let's see here. We're going to move on to the NMAA Association's recent bylaw that was approved by 80% on a vote, and I'll have it up here so you can kind of read it and follow along. I'll look at the bullet points here, and basically it says that if there's any unsportsmanlike or egregious act that occurs 2 or more times during the season, as far as a team participant or coach, then that means that the team could be suspended from participation, all because of one player's action or a coach's action. That's the thing. So basically, if a player, a coach, and another player get a strike or something for something that's considered egregious or unsportsmanlike, that team could be suspended for the season. And that's the same thing as far as non-team participants, such as fans or parents or things like that. Basically, it's very vague as to what could be considered an unsportsmanlike conduct, because everybody gets offended by everything nowadays. And we really don't know what's appropriate or what's not anymore, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look at Twitter and Facebook and all these things, and if you just turn on the radio, some of the stuff that comes on there is just, it's insane. It would have never been played, or it would have never been posted, or never put in a movie when I was younger, when I was in the 2000s and the 90s, when I was in high school. I mean, this stuff it's just kind of shocking what you see out there. So they need to really, really be explicit as to what they consider inappropriate. I know what's inappropriate, like nudity, cussing, attacking people's family members, things of that nature, fighting, creating loud, aggressive disturbances, things of that nature. And to be honest with you, I go 30, 40 games a year, and I've only seen 2 people actually ever do that. I've seen one person removed, and I saw a mother removed another time, and that's in 5 years. So I don't think it's that prevalent, and it just... honestly, I think they're just kind of trying to swat a fly with... I'm kind of speechless, all right? I'm sorry. I'm speechless a little bit that this would be voted in, to be honest with you, because I have to question. Well, you already had bylaws in place, compete with class initiative, right? Were you not enforcing that stuff before? How are you going to enforce this? Who keeps track of these violations 2 or more times? Well, I don't know if we call that a violation or not. Do you call that a violation? I guess. I don't know. Who keeps track of that? How do you prevent people from agitating or causing certain issues to create a second violation so that you can get a team suspended so you don't have to play them in district tournament or something like that? I mean, people do stuff like this. Don't kid yourself. How do you prevent those types of things? Where are the protocols? Where are the stopgaps to make sure that everything is fair and above board and people receive the fair amount of punishment, so to speak? Do you have any of that in place? I mean, because let's be honest, it doesn't appear right here based off of these statements and things like that. I mean, they said they wanted to eradicate this behavior in other statements that I have read, and I think that's kind of interesting because they're not going to eradicate that behavior because that behavior came in before the game. Okay, it was out there outside the gym. Let's be honest. So how are you going to deal with all this? How are you going to keep track of all of this to make sure that people are properly punished? Right? How are you going to do that? How are you going to keep track of all these violations or egregious acts? I'm going to call them violations because I don't know what else to call them because they just say egregious act. Okay, they're not very clear, to be honest with you. And let's be honest here. If you're going to be a coach, if you're going to be a referee, if you're going to do any of those types of jobs, you're going to get some abuse. Okay. You're going to get a lot of abuse. In fact, I'll show you the kind of abuse I get. I get a lot of abuse just covering high school basketball. It's quite interesting. I get people mad at me for rankings that I have nothing to do with. Like this guy. This guy is upset at me for a ranking that I have nothing to do with, okay? Nothing to do with. Nobody pays me anything. And this guy has just lumped me in there, and he's mad at me for a ranking of his kid, cousin, or son. I'm not sure. He doesn't say. And it's just, this is the type of stuff I deal with. You got other people that say stuff like this, stuff like that. I mean, people are entitled to say what they want to say, okay? They're entitled to. They're going to say what they're going to say, okay? And you gotta just have a thick skin if you're going to be involved in coaching, refereeing, and you're going to be involved in media or anything else that requires attention from the public. You're going to have to deal with it. It's just what it is. You either have to get a thicker skin, or you got to find something else where you don't have to deal with these type of things. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, and maybe we should not be so sensitive. I mean, I see referees that focus more on what people are saying in the crowd than actually the game, and that can be a problem. And I see referees that get flustered by that, and maybe they shouldn't be refereeing those games if they cannot handle that, because that's always going to be there, and it's going to be difficult to get people to shut up. I mean, they're going to try with this, and I think it's going to lead to problems, to be honest with you. And you're going to see some things that are going to be quite interesting, and we'll be talking about them. So I'm going to be curious to see how this plays out. Who's going to be able to enforce it, who doesn't, things like that. But like I said, it looks like it's pretty vague, and they need to be more upfront as to how this is all going to be conducted administratively, so that it could be a fair process. That's the bottom line with me. It's got to be a fair process, and they don't really say how they're going to enforce this, to be honest with you, or what they really they need to define things, what they really consider egregious and things of that nature, because everybody gets offended about everything, and his truth, their truth, this truth, and this and that, and yada, yada, yada. Everybody gets offended, and they may not consider something egregious, and you and I may consider egregious. So that's where it's at with me. I think there's going to be a lot of problems with this, and I think it's going to have us all talking here in the next couple of months when the season starts. So we'll see what happens, all right? So moving on, we're going to go to William Benjamin's lawsuit. And his lawsuit has just recently been dismissed with prejudice. What this means is that he is going to they're going to have a settlement, and he will no longer be able to bring those charges again. And so they basically came to an agreement, and New Mexico State and the Office of Risk Management has paid out to the Benjamin family and Odenewu. I need to get his first name here. I got to look at this. They will be paid out, according to this, $8 million. Shakiro Odenewu. So this lawsuit will be dismissed with prejudice, and Greg Hare, I hope I'm saying that right. I always have trouble saying his name for some reason, but he was dropped from the lawsuit, and he has now been recently hired by Mineral Arts College. I believe that's in Missouri, and that is a JUCO college. It's a JUCO, so he's going there, and he's going to resume his career. And so this thing is all but kind of moved on, so to speak, and everybody just decided to settle up. And what's really interesting, they asked the Attorney General, Raul Torres, if there was going to be any charges against these players who did this hazing against William Deuce Benjamin and Shakiro Odenewu. And he said likely. So I don't really have any confidence in that. I don't know. I don't really think anything's going to happen. I don't think Raul Torres is going to do anything. He never seems to do anything, to be honest with you. So I really don't think he's going to do anything this time. But I tell you what, it's got to be an awful lot, and it's got to be pretty bad for the risk management to pay out $8 million. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you what, William Benjamin and Odanewu definitely had a lot of stuff there, and New Mexico State didn't want it to get out. And Dan Arvizo, it appears, like I said in the last episode, it appears Dan Arvizo, along with some media down in El Paso and Las Cruces, basically we're working hand in hand to get GH out of there and make him the scapegoat. And here they are, all riding off in the sunset. The AD Mario gets a contract extension. Dan Arvizo gets to retire. But here we are. They're just covering it up. They're not really saying anything. And basically, I guess the Benjamins and Odanewu aren't going to be able to go too much further. And I suspect it was holding Deuce Benjamin back from being able to play basketball along with Odanewu. And GH wanted to continue his career. Okay? And so that's basically how it all looks to go down. And that's why I don't think Raul Torres is going to do anything either, because if they do charge, then there'll be some more publicity for New Mexico State on the bad side, so to speak. So it looks like this might be finally over. And it looks like they did an awful lot to try to cover it up. And my heart goes out to Odanewu and William Deuce Benjamin. So hopefully they can land somewhere and continue their basketball careers, and hopefully GH with this second chance can definitely have a better go at it this next time around and handle things a lot better. And with all of it, it's just interesting that he still hadn't been interviewed according to his lawyer. That's another thing that's interesting about all of this. So, and that's another reason why I say I don't think anything's going to happen. So I think it's just about done and over with, and I'll be looking to see where William Deuce goes next and see what he does. And it's a different world now. It looks like it might be finally over on that. So I'm going to move on from that. It's just been pretty tough to follow, and it's been heartbreaking for the Las Cruces community for sure. And so it's been really disappointing, because they really started out on fire, and it looked like they were going to have a great season until the Mike Peake episode and everything. That team just fell apart, and they just weren't ready to try to win basketball games. That was the bottom line with that. And it's just sad to see how it all ended. So hopefully things turn out better and we have a better outcome, and I'll be talking about their successes in the near future. So let's move on to friendly favors. Okay. Let me try to explain this the best way I can. Okay. You have a college coach who's not offering a kid, and the kid's dad or AAU coach or prep coach or high school coach has a contact with this college coach, and he says, "Hey, can my kid who's looking for a college scholarship say that he's got an offer from you, even though he doesn't?" And the college coach says, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And you see that a lot now. That's basically what a friendly favor is that, you have a college coach and you have whoever on the other side who are connected, through association and this and that. And they just basically make a deal where they say something is true when it actually isn't true. Okay. So it's a fake offer, so to speak. And then we got a lot of that going on out there in the basketball community. We got a lot of fake offers. A lot of friendly favors going on. And because if you've been following this for a long time, you pretty much know what's real and what's not, and what doesn't add up, and this and that. And you pretty much know kind of the sequences of how things are going, and you'll know why that player got an offer and why this one didn't, and this and that. You'll know why, because you've seen it over and over again. And so with friendly favors, we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing these college coaches just handing these things out, and sometimes they don't even know that a kid has announced that they got an offer from this school, and this school doesn't even know who they are. That's been going on quite a bit lately in the last 2 years. It is it is very dishonest, but what do you expect? You got dishonest people around. And so that's what's been going on with all of that. And that's what a friendly favor is. You got people announcing commitments, and I'm still waiting for them to sign with that school that they've announced that they've committed to. Hasn't happened yet. You've got half the state committed to this one school in California, and so it does not add up because there's only so many spots at that school and things like that. So you know that there's some friendly favor stuff going on, and it's all to try to get coaches, I guess, to think that that player is somebody that college coaches want. That's what it's all about, and it's just a very dishonest practice. I've seen college coaches back off from a player because they thought that player was going to go to that school when in fact that player was just throwing up a friendly favor, a fake offer. It can hurt you many different ways, and it affects our credibility in the media to go out and announce that you get an offer from a school or you've committed to a school and they don't even know you or they're not even offering you, and they don't care if you committed or not because they don't have an offer for you. That's where it affects everybody in general. And so that's, it's very disappointing. And we've seen a lot of that happen in the last 2-3 years. It's really popped up out of nowhere. And, frankly, I would love to see it stop. I would love to see players start to be honest again, like they were before, instead of doing these tactics. It's getting very frustrating because now you got to start messaging coaches and asking them, hey, are you actually offering this kid? Are you actually doing this? All right, okay. Are they going to go to your school or not? And you got to find that out now. You got to do more and more work because people aren't being honest. But it's not surprising. We got dishonest people here in the basketball community in New Mexico doing that type of stuff. And it's going to continue until they move on somewhere else. That's the way it's going to be. And, I know a lot of you that watch. I know some of you know definitely what I'm talking about and what's going on. And you need to start speaking up, honestly. You need to start speaking up and questioning these things because it's going on. And it's tiresome to watch. And so that's basically what I wanted to cover. I want to go over some other stuff, and I'm going to do it in the second take. We're going to talk about Jalen Holland and his rise at Section 7 and Daniel Jacobson and how he's doing and how he has gotten quite a few offers. So remember what I said, those Big 10, Big 12 offers coming in. So we'll talk about possible breakout players in the next take. So stay tuned for that. All right, so now we talked about friendly favors and how things just don't seem to be very honest right now and how things seem to be kind of murky in the waters and we're not getting the truth, basically. And it's making us all look kind of silly right now. That's what I feel as far as things are going. As far as the recruitment scene here in New Mexico, it's just kind of troublesome right now. And it bothers me. And people need to speak up about it for sure. And, it's crazy what's going on out there. You got a kid that hasn't even played 1 second of high school basketball, and he's already got offers. And we know that this is friendly favors, okay? And it just leads me to this. This year, we need to start getting back to the good values of being honest and humble. That's just the bottom line. We need to start being humble, honest, and hardworking. That's what's going to lead to success. This fakery is just not going to get us anywhere. Okay. Eventually people find out and everybody's going to start looking silly, and it just creates a bad reputation. It's a bad look. I've said it before, like 10 episodes ago about this stuff, and just people just aren't catching on. They're not they're not seeing what's really going on. And you need to start doing your due diligence, parents. You need to start looking at things clearly, and you need to start educating yourselves on the processes and recognizing what's really going on out there. And that's all I'm saying. I'm just bringing it to people's attention. There are many of you that watch, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what's going on. Speak up. Start saying this, start saying something, start talking. But with that, I'm moving on to what I said earlier at the beginning of the podcast. 4A, 5A, we have some breakout players that are coming up, and it's looking exciting. We have 2 players that are getting Big 10 and Big 12 offers. You have Los Lunas' Jalen Holland, 6'4" shooting guard, who just recently got an offer from Oklahoma. He has an offer from Missouri and TCU. Also, he has offers from New Mexico and New Mexico State. And he's rising up the ladder, and he's going to end up in that top 100 recruiting rankings at ESPN and the big national media companies put out, and he's going to be somebody that's going to be heavily recruited. And he's just entering his junior year, so this is going to be pretty exciting. We should all get ready to join this ride and watch his progress and see how Los Lunas does this year. So he's not a breakout player. He's already there. It's just a matter of how high is he going to go. That's the key right there, is how high is he going to go, and we're going to all get the privilege of watching him play and seeing what he does in this coming season. Another player, he is playing at Brewster Academy in New Hampshire, okay? He is former La Cueva star Daniel Jacobson at 7'2". He's another one that is from New Mexico, and he is getting some offers now. He's gotten one from Xavier and also Illinois, Big 10. He is 7'2". He is shooting outside very nice with a catch and shoot 3, and he's doing pretty decent on defense. And he's catching the attention of a lot of college coaches out there, so that's pretty exciting. So there's definitely some talent. It would be nice to have them all play here in New Mexico. And there's another one too. Another one, to finish that statement also, Nigel Walls at 6'9". He was here in New Mexico for a spell, and he's in Houston. He's also received an offer from New Mexico. He's received offers from LSU and Arkansas, and so he's another very talented player. And it just goes to show you that there is talent here, but unfortunately, we're having some trouble keeping that talent here. Imagine having guys like Nigel Walls here, that some of you are well dialed into the basketball community. You know who I'm talking about. A lot of you may not have heard his name, but Nigel Walls, if he had played here, he would definitely be run a case for being number 1 in the state. And then, of course, Jalen Holland, Daniel Jacobson. I'm telling you, it would be exciting to see what would be going on in the state right now if we had these players all playing here. Amari Brown has come back. He's going to play in the grind session with ABC Prep. If all these players were here in the state and they were playing high school ball, wow, it'd be incredible. It would just absolutely be incredible. And it goes back to what I've been saying for many episodes and on Instagram and all these other places as Twitter and things like that, that this state has a lot of talent and it could really do something, and it doesn't need to do anything extra in order to do it, in order to get some national recognition. And a lot of you need to understand that, and understand that this state has plenty of talent. Just play the game. Don't worry about trying to get that offer. It'll come if you work hard and if you're humble and you're dedicated. That's it. You don't have to go to all these different places and these other different options just to get an offer. You can get it playing high school ball here, and I've always said that because look at the talent. They're getting it. It's happening. But like I was saying, getting back to 4A and 5A, I'll start with 4A. A friend of mine asked me a question. Who do you think's going to break out in 4A basketball right now? And I can comfortably say Kenny Zamora of St. Pius X. I think he's going to have a big breakout year, and I think he's going to do some wonderful things. So he can finish strong in game speed, and he shoots well outside. And so I'm comfortable in saying he could have a breakout year. I think he could. And he'll be a surprise. He'll be a junior. I think he's under 6 foot, but he will be the point guard for the Sartans of St. Pius, and he'll do well. And another one that I saw at the Artesia team camp, which was really great. I loved Artesia, love that gym, is Josiah Fresquez. Josiah Fresquez is going to be a junior, and he impressed me because he got around the rim and he was able to maneuver and he was able to adjust, and he did really well, and I was really impressed with him. And he's going to do well with Nico Garcia, who's been the mainstay for Los Alamos. And so that team is going to be a very difficult team to deal with next season. But as far as 4A, I see those two. There's others. They're close. Okay, they're close. They just need to do more. That's the thing. They just need to keep getting better and add skills. That's the thing. And that's what happened for Daniel Jacobson. He's 7'2", of course, and that really helped him. But being that catch and shoot 3-point shooter has really helped him get those offers. And that's the same thing that can happen for any of these players out here, is if you add these skills. If you start shooting the ball really, really well, or you start dribbling the ball really, really well, you just got to find at least one skill that you're doing really well with, and that'll open doors for you for sure. Now, moving on to 5A, I got to think about this one because I've already kind of covered all these teams before and all these players in the last episode, just to kind of give you an update of what's going on. To look at 5A and to see who is who's going to be a breakout, because somebody asked me that question. I could probably say Carlsbad's Kalen Orgain, possibly being a breakout player, 6'2" junior for the Carlsbad Cavemen. I think he could be a nice scorer for them. I think he could do some really nice things for them. That's one that I consider. For Trisco, Kadarius Sims is another one that I think could have a big breakout year. He could also be one that becomes like that third scorer for the Jaguars of Trisco, and they're a very tough team this year, it looks like. And there's a few others that, looking across the board, Daniel Lovato of La Cueva is another one that's going to be a force in the paint. I think he'll be a breakout player this year. We already kind of knew about him, but I think he's going to go up another level this coming season. So he's one to definitely check out for sure. He's going to definitely help the Bears. You also have, I think, Santiago Gonzalez of Rio Grande, 6'5", 6'6", forward center. He's really good from the free throw line on in, and he just doesn't seem to miss from there. If he keeps working on his game and he keeps doing some different things to add to what he can already do, wow, he could be a really big time breakout player this year. That's one I'm definitely going to keep an eye on, because he's a really nice player inside. He's tough inside. The lefty, he's pretty good, and I'll be watching them for sure. And then there's Manzano's Kareem Otway seems to keep getting better and better. Every time I see him, from spring AAU ball to team camp, it just seemed like he grew or something, and he's added some skills. And so I'm curious to see what he does here in the summer AAU, when which is going to start here, which has already started actually here in July. I'm curious to see what he's going to do and how he's going to perform in AAU season, because I'm going to be watching him this coming week, and him and quite a few others. And then there's also Jonathan Lukesh of Albuquerque High with Isaiah Maldonado. Those two are looking exciting. And Ali Morales over there at Albuquerque High. All three of them look like they could be a three-guard combo that could score a lot of points and shoot outside. So I'm definitely checking all of them out. They could be breakout players for sure. And then, like I said about Abraham Pena of Hobbs, I think he's going to be a top player in the state. And he's definitely one that we'll be talking about for sure. And there's others there. Lucas Turner. I saw him play finally for the first time. And he's one. He didn't really have that good of a game that I saw, but he definitely showed the right techniques and the things that tell me that he can be really good and put up a lot of points like he did last season. And I think he's going to do that this year. I think he just needs to work on his body and get bigger and stronger. But he's another one that could have a huge jump, honestly. I think he could have a big jump, and we'll really be talking about him, and the whole state will know his name for sure. I think it's just a matter of getting in that weight room and building up physically. That's where I think will be the big jump for him, because he's already got nice skills, and put those strength together with the nice skills, and that will lead to some success. So I'm confident in him. And then, of course, there's Cleveland and Daniel Staverson. You always, Staverson has a chance to really, really have, I think the summer ball season, he has to have a big summer ball season to really, really get to that next level. He's like right there at that next level of saying, yeah, this is a top player. He's just like right there. He just needs to add that one skill or two and add some strength. And once he does that, he's top 5. He's already there, kind of there in my mind, so to speak. But he could really, really solidify himself for sure. And that's what I'm looking at with him. And of course, Kenyon Agueno, you can't, Kenyon's just awesome. Okay. Kenyon is just doing awesome things, and he's just steady, and he just plays ball, and he's already catching the D1 coach's attention out there, and he's got to keep on racking up offers. And, I'm just excited to see what he does next, see how he dribble drives to the hole. That's the one thing that I felt was kind of a bit of his weakness, but if he can improve on that, he's going to be another unstoppable. He's already unstoppable, really, but I mean, really unstoppable, just to that level of unstoppableness, right? We're making up words now to describe his game, but that's the truth, though. He's just that close to being, he's like Staverson. They're that close. They're close. They just got to keep grinding and break that wall down, and then boom, it's just going to explode for those two. And so as I look through, you know, there's Cody Wasserstein, and then I'm just curious to see what Mikey Beck at Farmington, how he's going to look as a junior. I just think Cody Wasserstein is going to be another one that's going to have a blow up year. It's been quiet over there in Farmington. I haven't seen too much on social media from Farmington, so I'm kind of wondering what they're cooking up there. But I'm excited to see. So we'll see what happens there. And then going through it all, you got Alan McGordo and that group, Demarion Smith and Kai Bickham. I'm just curious to see what those guys do. And so the summer AAU is all about getting better. That's it. And then, you know, with Clovis, I mentioned him before. I keep hearing great things about Marvin Cox, Cham Gooden, and we'll see how I'm going to check it out. I'm going to find out for sure what's going on there, because I'm hearing good things about Marvin Cox. Marvin Cox is another one. He's listed as 6'5", or he's either 6'7", one of the two. And I'm going to check out some more, but I'm hearing good things about him. I have not seen him play. Shame on me. And so I got to find out. So from there, looking over the list and everything, that's kind of summing it up a little bit. This is just kind of a recap of episode 24 when I went over a lot of players. I went over a bunch in episode 24. I think I went over about 35, 40 players in episode 24. And here I'm just kind of recapping a little bit as to what's happened. So we'll just have to kind of see what happens here in the summer. In the next episode, I'll be able to give you a lot more information and come with some more stuff. And then I'm going to have to kind of readjust things and see where else I'm going to go as far as direction is concerned with the podcast and everything else. It's been kind of a year of transition and change, and just got to see how things are going to work out. This year is going to be quite interesting. That's all I can say, is it's going to be quite interesting. To kind of recap everything, the bylaw that the NMAA came up with, we're just going to have to see how that works out. Like I said, I have questions. How are they going to keep track of infractions or offenses? I'm not sure what they're even calling these offenses or acts. They haven't specified as of yet. So I'm curious to see how they're going to keep track of all that and how that's going to affect the season, and see how it affects the atmosphere of the crowds and how it affects the state tournament and things like that, because it just leads to all kinds of questions, and I hope we can get some more clarification on that. But I do see some problems down the line, as the way it's been stated right now. I do see some problems because there's not much clarification right now as to what I've been able to find. And, with William Deuce Benjamin, I hope he can get another offer and get his college career going again, and get his fire back. And I hope that those families can heal and everybody can move on, and justice people are brought to justice appropriately. And, hopefully, the system that we live under, hopefully, Raul Torres, Attorney General, will be able to do his job correctly, and hopefully that all works out, and we can come to a conclusion and move on and focus more on basketball. So, my heart goes out to them, and hopefully everybody can start to heal and move on. And as far as friendly favors go, I challenge everybody to start dedicating this season to being humble, having some humility, and supporting your team, working hard, and getting better. Just dedicate your season to being humble. That's what I'm proposing here, and hopefully some people take that to heart and grab it. And take that to the bank, and hopefully we can start to have a better year, and some people can kind of grow up in the stands and calm down, and we won't have to deal with all this extracurricular stuff outside of the court. So, with that being said, I thank you for watching. I thank you for playing, and you guys have a great night. We'll talk to you later.